I can still remember the day I was getting ready for a talk. I had my notes. I knew the content because I'd done this before. And still the night before, I just lay awake going through every single thing that can go wrong. What if somebody asks me something that I don't know the answer of? What if they can see that I'm nervous? What if they finally figure out that I don't know everything? I've been studying leadership and human behavior for years. I coach managers and founders. I run a movement around this, and still I lay awake like that. That's how hardwired these patterns are. They don't care about your credentials. They don't care what you've built. But here's what I want you to know. To be able to become aware of this, that's when the transformation happens. That's where you can shift. And that's exactly why we need to talk about this today. We all know what imposter syndrome is. We talk about it. We laugh about it. We even bond over it. Oh, I totally have imposter syndrome. Yeah, me too. Isn't this the worst? And then we move on. But we cannot laugh it out of our system. We cannot brush it off in a conversation. And we can absolutely not brush it off internally. Research from 2025 that surveyed 10,000 professionals worldwide found that 71% of the CEOs experiences imposter syndrome. 65 of senior executives have it, and only 33% of early stage professionals are dealing with it. Shall I repeat that again? The people who have proven themselves most over and over and over again feel the worst. So if you're sitting there thinking that this will pass, it will not. Here's what I want you to understand. Imposter syndrome, it's a signal. It's your brain trying to protect you based on beliefs that were formed long before you became who you are today. Research shows that around 80% of our thoughts are repetitive. The same thoughts cycling through day after day. And if one of those repeating thoughts is not enough, your brain will serve it up again tomorrow and the day after and the day after. You can deliver the results. You can get the promotion. You can stand on stage. The belief doesn't automatically update. That gap between who you have become and what you still believe, that gap, that is where imposter syndrome starts. So imagine you want to run a marathon, right? You train hard, you show up every week, you build discipline, but you never look at sleep, your recovery, your nutrition. Your body will eventually give out. Not because you didn't work hard enough, it's because you build on a foundation that was never properly prepared. Imposter syndrome works exactly the same way. Every time you push through the doubt without addressing it, you just send your nervous system the information, you know what? This is not something that I can change. It is something that I need to survive. And you deserve more than survival. Dr. Valerie Young, one of the leading researchers on this topic, identifies 5 types. I want to go through each one of them, and I want you to notice where you recognize yourself. Perfectionist. I definitely used to be this. Everything has to be right before it goes out. I know this one personally. Even before I was in any leadership position, I would redo things just to make sure there were no mistakes. I can still remember the day that I was working for an international lawyer office as a business developer, and I hand in a project to my manager. And when I handed in the report by mail, I was so nervous. I was listening to all the sounds that came from her office. Is she annoyed? Is she angry? Is she breathing loudly just by receiving my email? That is how nerve-wracking this was for me. It feels like a fraud because they don't know everything. But as an expert, you don't have to know everything. The problem is we believe we do. I remember being on stage and they asked me a question I have absolutely no answer to. Saying I don't know, let's talk about that later, felt like the whole thing was falling apart. Like I just had proven that I should not be on that stage. The natural genius. If it doesn't come easily and immediately, something must be wrong with you. This is the type that gives up on things they're actually very capable of, just because the first attempt wasn't perfect. Number 4, the soloist. This is the person who has to do everything alone. Asking for help feels like admitting incompetence. And at what cost? Because it costs you energy, isolation, and you will be missing out opportunities. Number 5, the superhuman. Working harder than anyone else, being the best at everything, the best leader, the best parent, the best version of yourself, all at once. That person is exhausted because it's never enough. It's never finished. And then we have to talk about the biology because we're always thinking about the mindset, but the biology influences our behaviors as well, our patterns, the way we feel. For example, serotonin, the hormone connected to belonging, to feeling competent, to feeling like you deserve to be in the room, fluctuates. When it drops, that sense of not being enough, it rises. And for women especially, this can feel very overwhelming. Your body is part of this, which means this isn't just about thinking differently. It's about rewiring constantly. The good news is our brains are plastic. We can change it. It takes repetition. Everything starts with awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. If you're constantly in stress, fight, or flee, you're not in a state where you can observe yourself. You're just reacting, you're just surviving, and you don't even know what you're doing or what effect it has on the people around you. So here are 5 questions, and I really want you to sit with them. Not answer them quickly, sit with them. 1. What is your earliest memory you have of not feeling good enough? Let me tell you about my earliest memory. So every week on a Friday, my dad came home. And I knew that he would ask me questions about calculations. And that was not my strong suit. I was a creative being. So I was practicing with my aunt, and my aunt asked me questions, and I gave her the answers. And as soon as my dad came home, I couldn't breathe. I didn't know where, like how or what, who, how I would survive this. I got so nervous that I never knew the answers of the questions that he asked me. And those were the moments that I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I deserved my dad's love. And my dad really, he was doing his best because he wanted me to succeed, of course, in life. That's where my hardwiring started. Question number 2. What does the voice in your head says right before you walk into this high stake moment? I think those moments where I had to perform, like the moment that I had to stand in front of my dad and give him the answers to the questions. Every time I had to perform at school, I have to give a presentation, I got the same feeling. I couldn't breathe. In some cases, I even got dizzy. This is how scared I was at those moments. I had to get over those feelings. But at that moment, what my brain was saying, you're going to feel, people are going to think that you're dumb. And only that made me so nervous. So that was what my brain was saying. In those high stake moments, what is it that your brain is saying to you? Number 3, what is the pattern? When does it show up? For me, I had such a hard time breathing and I was always nervous. And it showed up everywhere in front of a class. When somebody asked me a question, when somebody asked me a simple question about my work, it made me feel nervous. So when does it show up for you? And what is it costing you? For me, it was costing everything, my self-belief, but also my goal, because I wanted to inspire people, but I couldn't. I couldn't even be in front of a room of people. How can I inspire people? I got over that. And then 5, where did it come from originally? Well, with me, you know the answer. Where did it come from you originally? Maybe you have been faking confidence while the imposter syndrome was screaming. It's exhausting, right? You just don't have to do it this way anymore. Imposter syndrome is not what you are, who you are. It is something your brain has learned. And what the brain learns, you can unlearn. You are not your doubt. If you want to understand what's actually driving this, I've built a free assessment. It's a starting point. You get your results immediately, and you will see which patterns are most active for you right now. You can find the link underneath the video. Take it. And if you want to talk through it, book a conversation. Awareness is where transformation starts.